Okay, so in this video, I want to be telling you about how to increase the lifetime value of your clients, which basically means that on day one, if you're going to sell something to a client for $2,000, how are we going to turn that into $10,000 with the same clients? The truth is, I've been doing the exact same thing to scale my agency Gemflow. I would sign a client on $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and the same client today, I am making anywhere between $30,000 to $50,000 from. And there's a certain way to do that, but in this video, I'm not only going to be telling you how to do that, I'm actually going to be ranking all the different ways that exist for you to increase the lifetime value so you can focus on the right stuff to scale your service-based business, your agency, etc. With that being said, let's jump on my screen and I have the classic S-tier grid right here. I've written out all the different things that I do, I've seen people talk about, and I'm going to go through them one by one and tell you what is the best ones for you to do. Not only that, I'll actually be walking you through some of the stuff on what should you actually do to implement some of this stuff. So this is not just about, I'm going to rank them. I'm also going to give you some detail below. And look, at any time, if you're like, Shan, I love what you're talking about and I want to get more money out of my existing clients, I want to grow, I want to scale, all you need to do is click the link down below, book a call with myself or my team, and we can help you do just that. With that being said, let's jump straight in. Ultimately, why do you want to do this, right? We want to keep our clients for the longest time. We want them to get them to pay us more over time, and we want to grow with them. So just before we dive in, the secret to building a big agency, I've done $100 million in revenue, is the lifetime value of your clients. It's not the more clients you bring in. Nobody wants to have an agency with 300 clients that you're managing. That sounds like hell. What you want is you want high ticket clients, you want the best clients in the world, and you want to keep them for a very long time. And this is the stuff that you'll have to be doing, and you'll see what stuff is the best stuff to do to achieve that. I'm going to pick as the first one is providing a great service. So obviously as a service providers, our job is to make sure we provide a great service, right? We keep people happy. So like, where do I rank providing, a service which is good in terms of keeping your clients? If I'm being completely honest, I would say that actually is not that important. It's important, but not that important. One of the biggest things I realized early on, when someone signs up with you and your job is to provide the service, if that's all you're going to do, you will actually lose that client at some point. One of the things that your job is that every time you are speaking to your client, your job is to impress them. Your job is to make them think that you're such an expert that you're thinking about the next thing. If you think your job is to get on the call, give them an update on how their ads are performing and that's it, you are wrong. You should be saying, here's 2 other things we want to launch, i.e. a new offer, more creatives, more ideas. You should always be on the front foot. So just providing a great service, I would say it's like, it's B level in terms of increasing lifetime value. Because essentially, to be honest, I'm actually going to move it to C because you're not really going to increase the lifetime value. This is what you're doing to get paid, and that's all that's going to happen. At some point, they will think they can do it cheaper, better, in-house, because there's nothing more that you're doing for them by just doing the service. When I say this to agency owners, they're like, what? I just thought the whole game is bring clients in, service them, and just do that again and again. Right? And that's how you build an agency. And the truth is that's not how you increase the lifetime value of your clients, because that's what they're paid for. And if you're not on the front foot, it's not going to work out for you. So what I do personally is, I train my team that every time we're going to have a FaceTime with our clients, we have to have something in our back pocket. And what your job should be as the founder, as the CEO, as the person in charge, you've got to try to meet your client one-on-one. If that's once a month, every few months, to try to really impress them with the next best thing to do. That is the secret. So the how I've gone from, I've sold a service, we're doing $5,000 per month, but then how have we gone to $20,000 per month? Because I went to them and said, hey man, I think you should also do this. And I'm the guy to do it for you. And that allows you to be on the front foot. That allows you to keep clients for a long time because they're like, I need to be in business with this guy. I don't want to not have this guy in my life. Having this guy in my life, it's good for my business, it's good for me because this guy is on it. He gets it. He's 3 steps ahead of everybody else. That is the key to lifetime value, because then that client will stay with you more over a long period of time. That is why I've had the same clients for 6, 7, 8 years now, because I keep evolving as a business person. I keep getting better. I keep bringing them along with me because I keep telling them what more they can do. Next up, let's pick something that a lot of people, so I think I'll put it here like blind automation. So obviously like one of the worst things you could do for your agency over long term is basically do like automated emails to clients. So if you were to like send check-in emails that are automated, or just some automated report that just pings them. So, obviously if you're using Google Analytics or a lot of different things now, you can essentially automate a report. And people think, oh, that's amazing and it's automated. It's amazing for you. I get it, because you don't have to do any work, but it's terrible for the clients, right? If you're going to dump a report on them with no narrative, no explanation, no nothing, that client is not going to be happy. You are not going to keep that client for a very long time. You're not going to be able to have a long life. That client's lifetime value to you is not going to be as big as you think if you do anything automated. So never ever have any automated report dumped on them. You should always have that dump on you. You add a few slides of narrative and then you send, because the key is that you are the expert and you're getting paid for that, right? So you want to ensure to not do that ever. So don't ever send anything automated to your clients. It'll be the worst thing to do to keep clients for the long term. Next up, I think I'm going to talk about like ops. Like, one of the best things you can do is, I'm going to put this in A. Essentially, it's the way you communicate with your clients. One of the worst things, and I've worked with enough agencies across me because we have to hire agencies for stuff. Like, it's so bad. Like, agency owners are so bad at doing things in a structured way. So what you should be doing is, I have it down here. So it ultimately comes down to account management, right? So ultimately it's about communication, consulting, delivery, reporting, and the ultimate relationship you're building with them. But what am I talking about, right? So you have to have your interaction, your operations, and like the way you speak to your clients so structured within the agency, irrespective of what is going on. The classic is that you only do a call when you want to or when it's needed. You'll only send an update when it's needed. You don't follow up after calls. You don't send weekly updates. And that's how to do it wrong. If you do it correctly, even if you were to have bad results, like, plenty of times we've failed to deliver the results. Our service, has not done what it claimed to do. But what saved us was our communication, our SOPs, is the way that relationship was so good that you're like, they keep on working with us, right? Why? Because this is what we're doing. 1, daily comms, approvals, chasing assets, whatever is in Slack. So we will have a Slack channel with the client and there's daily comms in there, right? And we ensure we have a rule. Everything must be responded within 24 hours. And you should always be the last message. So what does that mean? It means if a client sent you something, you should always follow up. Even if he says thanks, you say thanks. It should be a rule in your agency that we're always going to be last. That means there's nothing ever gone unanswered. And that is the key to managing clients. There has to be a weekly touch point where you are either doing it via email or via call, but you are actually giving them real status update and progress. It's your job to say, this is what we're doing. This is where we are. This is the stuff that we still need from you. Even though someone may have not done what you asked them to, your job is still to keep chasing them. Not that I'm just going to wait till they come back to me and I'm just going to do other stuff, right? So that should not be it. And then monthly, we should be focusing on big picture performance, goals, commercial opportunities. Ultimately, you can't be doing all of this in one call. The key thing is that you have to set the standard in like the way you're managing clients. So if you jump on a call and you're talking about the next launch and you're talking about problems and you're talking about what they need to do, it's all over the place. But structure it. Daily, you're going to do the things that are needed. Weekly, it's about what's needed right now. Monthly, it's like, okay, we're focusing on big picture. So that way of like working will allow you to have the right relationship with your client, which is the key thing to keep a client long term. All right, the next one is upselling a new service. And look, this is one of the best things you can do to increase that lifetime value, but you can do it wrong. The key thing is that it's not about over-promising some results, right? So people get greedy. You have to time it right. You can't just like sign a client and it's been 2 months and all of a sudden you're trying to then say we can do this or that for you. You have to wait for the opportunity, because once you've seen the data, once you've seen the opportunity, then you go for it. But the idea of upsell is that, if you're just doing creatives for somebody, you're going to run ads for some of them. If you're going to run ads for them, then you can also do landing pages for them. So what you want to do is back to their funnel, right? Every business has a funnel. You're trying to get traffic, you're trying to get customers, you're trying to convert people to do something. And normally as an agency, they will hire you to help at some part of that funnel, right? You're going to either bring them more eyeballs or you're going to help them convert more people. Where do you sit? Wherever you sit, there's always the next level above or below that you can sell to them. And that's how you upsell. That's how you have adjacent services which complement each other. That's where people are like, no, Shan, I'm doing this one thing for these one type of people. I'm like, yeah, but you can do other stuff for them, for that same person, because they don't want to have 3 different agencies, or they don't want to have 7 team members and 1 agency. How you become more is by becoming more full stack, right? Being able to provide more services to the same client, which makes sense because it's the next thing, right? You're driving traffic with someone through content. content. Next thing you can do is offer them, I will help sell your digital product, right? It's the next thing. And that's how you make more money. So when it comes to upselling, the right one is like that. You see the problem in their business. So it makes obvious for you to be like, hey man, we can help you with this next thing now because we see it. And your pitch would be good versus blind to be like, oh, we built your website for you, but I can help you with like short form scripts. The guy will be like, no, it's okay. Why don't you just stick to what I paid you for? And that's exactly how people do it wrong. And not only that, you'll annoy your client that they're not going to want to work with you because they're like, at least just do the thing that I've paid you for first before you start telling me you can help me with other areas. But if you help them with the website, the next thing would be like, I can help you like get traffic to it. Is that some creatives or is that CRO? Is that ongoing CRO? Like you'd have to wait and do it in the right way. So it's an amazing way. It's one of the best ways that I have done personally, that I bring a client in. I realize once I get more access to their data with what's wrong with their business, and then we start to upsell them new services which are complementary. So that is the key thing when it comes to upsells. All right, next one I'm going to talk about is, I guess, discounts. So I see this a lot of people do. They'll try to, think that they can do an offer to get people to lock in for longer. It's the classic thing that people get wrong because you're trying to do like software tactics, digital product tactics in a service-based business. And the craziest thing online today is nobody talks about the differences in business models based on a service-based business, or you're selling products online, or you're selling software, because they have different things, right? So in software, it makes sense to be like, sign up to our annual plan, get 20% off, sign up to a 3-year plan, get even more discount. It doesn't work like that in services. So what you can't do is get someone to be like, look, ma'am, join our 12-month package and it's 20% cheaper. And if you renew your agreement earlier with us, we'll give you a discount. That kind of stuff doesn't work. And again, that's going to annoy people more than anything else, because if someone's going to re-sign with you or continue to work with you or buy another package from you, there's going to have to be a real reason for it and not price. Like if you're using price as the reason to keep clients, the goal is to increase lifetime value, not by like locking them in long-term contracts, and at a discount, right? That's the opposite, because you're doing that from a price point of view, not from a value point of view. That is not what I would do if I'm trying to increase the lifetime value of the client. I think related to that as well, I did write down here earlier, I guess, like just lock-in clauses. So I'll move that along as well, because ultimately it's the same thing. So people think that, they can be clever in their agreements or anything else. Like, don't think that's how you're going to keep a client. No one's going to stay with you. Legally, they'll always find a way out. It's not the way to think. You have to think value first if you want to keep your clients long term. One real thing I want to talk about is high quality reporting. So we talked a little bit about SOPs, but I want to go a bit deeper. I'm going to put this straight into S tier. So this is one of the things that will differentiate you from being a world-class agency to another agency that claims to be an expert at XYZ, but the actual everything under the scene, in the real work is not good enough. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to walk you through it. Reporting is all about building that trust, the attention, and the differentiation, right? Like this is where 99% of agencies drop the ball and where you can win. How to nail reporting. Consistency, same format, same day, same style every time, right? Like you got to templatize it so they understand what they're going to receive from you. Don't just share numbers, interpret them. What do you mean? It's the insight, the strategic thinking, recommend changes, tie numbers to decisions. So you want to say, hey, we ran your ads. This is what happened. This is why it happened. And this is what we're going to do next, right? Because all the things in someone's head is like, I paid these guys. Why is it not working? What should we do? Am I made the right decision? Blah, blah, blah. So your job is to counter that, handle that by putting that into your templated reporting. So it's like very clear. And you actually have to put effort into making that good. Then it's like, you want to continuously think about new opportunities, as I said earlier. But let's get into a bit more detail, right? So how does this work? So end of week, we send an end of week update, which normally is like a performance flash, status of next week, structured email every Friday PM. So every client's going to get an email every single week telling them exactly what happened in the week, good and bad, what's still expected of them. And it's a nice templated format. We want to send them a progress of simple color table in the end of week email, which is basically telling them by project, by this, where are we exactly? You don't understand what this does. This does that in our company. I set this up. It means the weekends are amazing because nobody's chasing me. Nobody's chasing my team because every client is waking up to an end of week update and because they're paying for development. 27 of 34 tasks are done. 2 things left. This is. They're like, oh wow, you're getting a full status report, even better than their own team members send them, right? You want to be that good. When we work with people start asking me, hey Shan, can I get a template like this report that you send me? I would love my team to send it to me. And it's like, you want to be that good, right? There's no, you want to build a lame agency and buy inboxes and spam people and whatever and make $300 per month, $2K per month clients. you go and do that. If you're watching me right now, we're here all about high ticket clients, building a world-class agency, being amazing at what we do, right? And to do that, you got to do this stuff. Monthly, you should be sending a full deck to your client, which shows your true expertise. And this is how you will differentiate yourself and why they will feel like you have to work with you. And that's where you're doing a full deep dive strategically. This is where we are. Are we in a good place or bad? The other thing people don't do, agency owners will never talk bad about themselves. I actually do the opposite. I will say, this is where we are right now, but I think we can do better. If this and this happened, we probably would have been here by now. But it's okay because we're here and we're going to work on it together and we're going to get there. That honest and transparent way of working allows your clients to fully trust you, because normally every client does this. We had this yesterday. We've got an agency we're currently using. I sent them a Slack message. The guy is defensive. Oh no, but it's because of this. Oh, it's because of this. It's like, man, stop being defensive. Like, it's cool. I'm paying you. We're already doing this. Let's get over that. Your ego of like, oh my days, I've said, guys, what's going on here? Can we improve this? So he's full defense, right? It's like long Slack message, 9 points, defending himself. Why? It's like all wrong. Instead, she should be like, Shan, you're right. But here's 7 things we can do to improve it. That's what you want to be like. Never be defensive, because that's just like cringe. It just makes you think, like the guy is just like, you're in the wrong headspace if you're trying to be defensive. You need to be always, the thing you should do, every time a client moans at you, just say, you're right. And you know what happens? They'll be like, they'll just feel happy, because nobody wants to not be right. So what I do is, if a client's not, happy, I'm just like, you're right. We should have done better. But I have 5 ways we can improve this. So let's start talking about how we're going to do that. And they love it because, wow. So that's back to the same thing, right? And the monthly is like a way for you to do that. What does the monthly look like? We want to be putting as much detail in as possible about the business, about summary, what's going on, the progress I was talking about weekly earlier, end of week update, performance highlights, operational update, key team line, timelines, etc. You get the idea, right? You understand that it's all about details, like real details, to get people to actually care. Okay, so with that being said, the next one I want to move on to essentially is the software you use for clients. I'm going to put that into B. So this is a strange tactical one, but the truth is, the more you embed a client into your ways of working, the harder it is for them to leave. And I realized this myself because, a lot of times you would have someone, who's unhappy or on the verge of leaving or something like that, right? But when we realize the practical steps they would need to take in order to basically do stuff by themselves, it's quite scary. A few tactical stuff is when you're setting up any softwares, make sure you're the owner account. A lot of small things you can do like that. But essentially means you have more control without calling it control, without ever speaking about it. That will allow you to be more, it's like defense first, more safeguarded, because it's got to be, you got to make it really hard for someone to want to leave and have success. And these are small tactical things you can do. And that will allow you to have a bigger lifetime value, essentially, because the client will be more inclined to stay with you. If you have an issue, is to work it out with you. And normally it's a communication problem or a performance problem, but both of those can be fixed. So if the underlying infrastructure is very dialed in from your perspective, it will help you keep clients for a longer time. So yeah, software is a really interesting one, because you got to be smart with it, all these small things, and just the setup, and that would be. So yeah, I would say that's a B in terms of things you can do to increase the client lifetime revenue. Let's move on to, I guess, some small stuff like gifts. Actually, not gifts. I'll say more your own merch, gifts, etc. So I guess people think calling them to your events, making client care about your success and what you're doing with your agency and bringing them in. To be honest, that kind of stuff doesn't work. I'll put that down to D. People only care about themselves. Trying to bring them into your thing is not good. Related to that, I'm gonna add another one. I'll put it into C maybe. Actually, I'm gonna switch this around. So I'll say this is C. I have another one related to that. Case studies, content, talking about them. So one thing that will not make you sign the best clients is if you're going to do this. And this has happened to me. You work with an agency, 7 days later, they're posting a case study on LinkedIn of how I helped this client do X. And it's it's so cringe. It's firstly, you have to wait. And you have to make sure that a relationship is built enough that you can do that. And then also you should be asking the client, is it okay to do that? It's one of the worst things you could do. That's why you'll notice with me, I don't make much content, which is how I helped X person make a Y, because I've done it. I've helped so many people that you follow make so much money and do so many things, but the public narrative that those people will say will be different, but that's okay. okay because it works. They make money, I make money. But if you were to go and act cringe in that way, it's over. If you start sitting on podcasts and talking about it, like, it's over. If you start just doing the classic videos that you see small time agency owners do, it's not right. You know, if they've said it's okay, it's cool. But if not, it's not. And the reason I say that is because people don't want to work with people that are going to use their name in that way, in like a cringe way. So by doing that, that person is going to think that they're going to outgrow you. They're going to think, if I'm your biggest client and you can't stop talking about me, I need to go and find somewhere where I'm not the biggest. And that is the biggest truth I could say to you. So you have to have certain style about you. Like when I was working with Logan Paul, to others, you know, like obviously I would love to pull my phone out and be like, hey guys, what's up? I'm here with Logan, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to do that, right? And that's going to look cheap. I'm not going to sit and make episodes or YouTube videos on like how I helped this person do that. Anyone you see that does that stuff essentially is the bottom end of the agency world, because everyone else looks at that and it's cringe as hell. And it's a very interesting thing. So you have to make sure you're not utilizing your clients' names in that way for your own personal benefit. You know, it's different if you're talking about them. It's different if you're showcasing what you did, but there's a certain style, a certain way to do that. If you do it in the cringe way, that client's going to leave you. So if you're interested in having clients for a long period of time, get them to pay you more over time, you want to grow with them, just don't be cringe. Yeah. Essentially, that's the best thing I could say. You know, it's different to what people think cringe is, but I'm telling you from my own experience of working with the biggest, most famous people in the world, and I can't talk about that, right? Like I pitched The Rock. I went to see the Kardashians in their house. Like I can say that, but I'm not going to make a video about, so this is what happened, right? And like walk through it and showcase you what I did and how and whatever. So yeah, just be a bit careful when it comes to the way you speak about what you do. I'll tell you something that will work really well is a dedicated team members. So let's put this all the way up into the S tier. If you have a client today, and I'll speak to someone now that, you know, has a more successful agency. If you have a client today, the client's been with you for a year, results are being amazing, and you're thinking like, what's next? One of the best things you can do, which is a defensive move, and say, hey man, look, I want to give you a dedicated ads buyer. I want to give you a dedicated designer. We're going to charge you more, but then we can do more, and that'll allow you to grow the thing that we're doing for you better. It means we could do better design. We could drive better results. That is such a great way to really lock in, because you will essentially go and hire somebody for that client who only works on them. This is quite common in lawyers in a big accounting firm. So when you, I guess, work with a big law firm, they call it a secondment. So they will send someone that sits in your office and does all your work for you. And that allows them to be fully embedded within their organization. That's what I'm saying. So you're going to hire someone and you're going to place them in their organization. And that will allow you to be in with them for the long term, because you source this person, you hire this person, you place this person. So today I have many clients where I've hired 5 to 10 people now that sit and only work on that client. The Rock has the exact same setup as WME. There's like 20 people that sit in WME that does all the Rock's businesses. And because of that, his relationship with WME is unbreakable, right? Because you are joined now. So it's such a tactical thing to say to someone, you know what, I'm going to give you a dedicated ads buyer. And they're going to sit in a couple of meetings with your guys a week, and they're going to make sure everything gets done, blah, 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 blah. And that means like they can't really leave now. But you obviously got to be good at what you do, and you're going to say all the other stuff that I'm saying, have really good reporting, have really good SOPs, make sure all that stuff is in a great place. But this is an amazing tactic to increase that lifetime value, to keep your clients for longer, and essentially build long-term partnership with clients, because that's how you will make the most money possible in the agency space. So dedicated team members, secret. I just gave you away. Next up, another thing I'll also put up here is like the personal touch. I'll put this into A. Let's call it A. So this is where you're going out of your way to do stuff for your clients that you're not getting remunerated for. So the smallest thing would be, you know, when it's their birthday, send them a present, but not just send something lame, you know, get something personalized, something that you know they will love. That works really well. Helping them with introductions to things, which is none of your business, but you still do it. Just being that person. Again, you want to be a very good, valuable person in their business life, so they want to have you in their network. That's how you can be a small-time agency owner who's a nobody, but still show your value because of just the way you do business, that personal way of doing business. Like, you know, let's say you are a designer for a D2C brand, you know, when Poppy just got sold, which is a big D2C brand, you should be sending that to your client saying, yo, check this out, man, I think you guys can get here one day. That guy's gonna love you. He's like, yo, like, you think we can get there? Like, you think I can sell my company for $1 billion one day? Like, yeah, of course, right? So you want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that's lifting them up, lifting your clients up. You see, right? Like, what people will tell you the agency game is that you like have some offer, get some clients, someone's going to do all the work. It's just a cash flow business, bro. It's like, it's so fake and wrong, and that is just never been done. It is not true. The businesses, agency businesses, and if you're an agency owner, service provider, freelancer, it's all about putting the client first. Otherwise, you will never gonna have success. You might find some clients, yes, and you may get to 30K per month, even 100K per month, but like, I'm talking about real success here, right? Like building something that's gonna make you rich. To do that, it's all about value, and it's all about putting clients generally first, not for some game, some gimmick, some way to try to like, get them to give you more money. It's real. So that's what I'm saying. That if you really like put people first, you will win. And that's been the secret, right? Like, I'm the only agency owner that I know that's done $100 million in revenue and is creating YouTube content. I'm talking about agency revenue, actually providing services, not selling courses, not telling you to donate 200 books or whatever else, right? To like sell your offer. I'm talking about selling services to actual people, right? Very different. And this is what it would take, right? It's not like this illusion of like success. It's generally helping people as much as possible in every aspect. So that personal touch is a massive way, because people won't forget that when shit goes bad. Back to when the communication is shit and the results are shit, someone else is cheaper, someone else is saying that they're better, why would they stay with you? It's because this is the stuff that people remember. It's the human side. With me, every single day, someone is pitching my clients, we can do it cheaper, we can do it better, we can use AI, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, right? Every day. But the reason we can hold on to our clients is because we've understood the way you're meant to deal with your clients, manage them and treat them. And that is such an important part of it that most people don't engineer, they don't think about. I think the other thing you don't want to do, I guess, yes, is like, I call it like newsletters and stuff. So a lot of people will do this. I'll put it into D. It's one of the worst things you could do. So like, I'm just going to call it like newsletters. What you don't want to do is put your clients into some generic newsletter, that you're sending out with industry value or something like that. I've seen that happen. People will create this newsletter that they're pinging out to clients, and it's just so robotic, so not useful, and they make them seem like they are like everybody else. Thing with clients is, unfortunately, you got to make every client feel special and feel like they're the only ones, because that's the secret, right? They got to feel special. So this is the opposite of that. So don't send any, I already said, automated messages. Part of that is like newsletters. Don't just put someone on a newsletter, give them stuff that will not help. With that being said, a couple other really good ones. So obviously aim for long-term contracts. I know this is hard. I'll put this down into B because a lot of you I know will struggle to physically do this, but I guess at Gemflow, once you find some success, the faster you can move to longer contracts, the better. So the longest contract I've done with the creator is 5 years. So, we started on 1 year, then 2 year, and now we've done some at 5. And ultimately it's because we're thinking you have to be bullish that, look, if I'm going to work with you and we're really going to do this, like we need to only work on long term. And you will bring higher ticket clients to you by doing so. It's crazy that the worst clients in the world would want 30-day rolling on no contracts or buy a package. The best clients actually want long-term deals because they also want to be like, okay, we are working with you now and we're going to make this work. Because nobody wants to hop around and nobody wants to move agency to agency. Nobody wants to go in-house agency. And it's funny because I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, there's no way someone's going to sign up to a year for my thing or 2 years for my thing, but the right clients will. And what do we believe in? Once again, we believe in high ticket clients, having 10, 15 clients, doing 5, 10K per month per client, plus a performance bonus, right? To be making $1 million plus a year. We don't want to have 300 clients who are buying packages off us, right? That is not what we were here to do. So that's essentially how you need to think that long-term contracts is the key, and you've got to start pitching them. Next client that you're trying to sign, pitch them a longer term deal and pitch it as a partnership. Say to them, look guys, we want long-term because we believe in success, right? If you really want, I can make another video on like contracts because there's certain ways you can give people the protection of like what happens in bad situations and stuff, but we don't want to be in a situation where the contract ends, right? Like we want long-term contracts. Next, one of the best things you could do, I guess, is to increase lifetime value. This is more like tactical now. So back-end percentage bonus. So what you say to a client is, I'm going to help you basically increase your revenues by doing something on the back end. Classic example would be, I'll help you sell a course, but then I'll install a sales team and I will get that sales team to sell more on the back end, i.e. through upsells, through phone calls, getting people to book a call, and I'm going to take a percentage of that. So you're saying to a client, I'm going to increase your revenue. And on that incremental increase of revenue that I generate, which attributes back to my campaigns, my ads, my emails, my sales closes, as an example, I want to take a percentage of that, right? So it's incremental revenue. This is one of the best things, because I think I've talked a lot about like how to keep clients a long time. This one is more about how to make more from the clients immediately. So you sign a client, you're doing one thing for them, upsell them a service, but make sure you take a percentage of the stuff you're driving for them, which allows you to do the following. You can lower your general price, be very cheap, so people sign up with you. But then you upsell them at the right time, but take a percentage of the revenue as you've upsold them. That allows you then to be able to scale alongside them. This by far is the number one way I've gone from, I've kept my clients happy, but then I've gone from, them paying us 5K a month to me making 50K, 100K, even 200K from a single client in a month because of this. Because we are then doing other things for them, which they didn't know how to do, didn't want to do. But we did it. And I said to them, look, when this works, I'm taking a percentage of the revenue. It's a win-win. So selling win-win concepts to people is the biggest way. So many of you would say, oh, get paid what you're worth. I only want to work with a client that pays me 5K. I only want to pay someone that pays me 3 months up front. If you don't pay my invoice first, I'm not working with you. That's all the stuff to do to build the worst agency in the world, because we don't want to be doing that. We want to bring clients in at the best price possible, because you have the confidence that I can now upsell them into something else later down the line and overall have better lifetime value of a client. That's the way to scale an agency. And look, very last one, I'll put it up here as well. I know this is very, very tough, but let's put one more S tier. Man, I love how many S tiers we've got. Normally people have less, but I've gone with more because I'm just being real with you, the shit that I do. It's joint ventures. Obviously, for some of you that watch my content, so I kind of started a private equity side at Gemflow. We call it Gemflow Ventures. I've invested in multiple different businesses, co-created businesses now with my clients, because I saw the opportunity. I saw a client, I saw how well he's doing. I'm like, yo, we could do something new. Let's jump in and do it together. Obviously very tough, and I get it, and it's something, but just to show you, like, that's the ultimate play, because now if you're owning a business with someone, that client is never going to leave you unless you go bankrupt, right? So it's very, very, very important to, think, is that a possibility? And so yeah, that's the very last way how you can increase the value is going all in with the client and actually starting something with them, and they will never leave you. And that client now long term will have so much value for you, because not only is the value on the money you're generating, the value is actually in the shares of the business. So it's double benefit for you, right? So you make money from the business and you own the business. So there's value in the business. Look, with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this video and you go away and you start implementing something. And look, if you want to help with any of this stuff and you're like, okay, a lot of this stuff sounds good, but I need help in how do I transition to this? How do I execute it? How do I do this? This is actually why you should click the link down below, book a call, and my team will tell you every single way we can help you do this in your service business, in your agency. With that being said, new videos every single week. So make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.